Okay, good morning. I am going to be doing this webinar from home today. I'm not feeling the best, but I didn't want to skip it. So you're probably going to hear some pups in the background. My dogs are a little bit riled up with the windows open today. So hopefully we'll keep this short and sweet and they're not too much of a disruption. Basically, what I was hoping to do today is just talk a little bit about revisions and that we can kind of learn about what those are and how you can edit revisions. And if you do not have revisions on your websites and you would like them, like on a certain content type, for example, please let us know, because I know that some of the earlier sites that we stood up, that may not be something that was automatic. And so if it's not in a place that you would like it, please, again, just let us know. We can add that very easily. Couple things. In order to see revisions, you need to have, first of all, the permission to see those. So content editors should have that permission. So if you are a content editor role, then revisions should show up. And if they don't, then chances are it's just revisions just aren't turned on for that content type. So the first thing that you would do is find the page that you want to be able to edit and then select the revisions tab on that page. Once you select the revisions tab on the page, then you're going to be able to compare the different revisions that have happened. So I just randomly picked a news article that was on the Crops website. And so I'll just select a couple things here to compare. So these are a couple revisions that I want to compare. So when you select compare, this button here at the top, that's going to show you a little bit, kind of in a little bit of a code type of way, what the revisions are, and they'll be highlighted. So you can see that some of these things have changed. They're in red, and it's pretty clear what changed during that revision, between those two revisions. You can also see the current revision here. So this is what the article currently looks like underneath. Let's see this over here. Then to go back to where you were, you just need to select the View tab. And when you go back to the View tab, then you'll be back to the article that you were at in place. If you decide after you compare the revisions that you would like to revert to that revision, so for example, if you wanted to go back to the revision before the changes, all you would need to do is select the line of the revision that you want to revert to and then select revert. I'm not going to do that today because I don't think they want their article reverted, but you would just select revert and it would go to that version. If you want to delete a revision, you can delete the revisions here. There's really not a huge need to delete revisions, but if you find that you would like to for some reason, that should be available to you as well. Revisions is something we haven't really talked about too much, but it's just sort of inherent and present and available on our sites. And so I just wanted to take a couple minutes to show you what revisions were and how to use those. Again, if you are editing and you'd like to see that tab and you don't see it, let me know. And I also think that if you, for example, if you created a page and there has not been any edits to the page, I don't think you'll see the revisions tab because there wouldn't be any revisions to see. So just keep that in mind as well. I'm going to open the chat really quick. If you have questions, please feel free to type them in the chat. We have a few members of the team here that are available to help answer any questions that you have, and we can get to those today. So that's really all I had for revisions. It's pretty short and sweet. However, there's one additional component that I wanted to talk to you about, and this is in regards to some new things that are happening in regards to style and your websites. So currently, what we have is, or what we have are some blocks on sites. And you've seen a lot of this before, and we've talked about this, in that there's several ways that you can add content and edit content. Some of the content on the like on your home pages are automatically pulled in, like the latest news releases and that kind of thing. Also, some of the content has been created as content cards, or what we like to call content cards, where you can select the little gear and edit the block kind of thing. In discussing these options with folks that have websites and are content editors with us, we have seen that some people prefer not to have this light gray border. So for example, on these boxes at the top for integrated crop management, since there is a photo here and there's a color box with some text over it, there's already a distinction of a block or a box. And so that extra line that's around it isn't necessarily needed to have on the homepage styles. So that line is probably, we're working on removing that. However, you will be able to add the line back. You know, if you decide when we do a luggage update, you see this change on your site and you want those back for some reason and that kind of thing, then we will go ahead and add those back. I think the same thing applies here, where it's pretty distinct. It's pretty obvious like what these boxes are, you know, what's happening underneath the headings, and there's lines that delineate the difference between the news items and the news releases, for example, here, and the blog posts. So there's automatically sort of a compartment or an area that's being determined. So again, I don't know that it is necessary, and as I said, we've gotten feedback that people would like those removed. And oh good, Sarah's commenting here too. So that we'll be able to have the ability to decide which boxes have the lines and which don't. And so I think that's something that even, Sarah, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's something that maybe you can even do. Like we're looking at options to where if you edit the block right now, you can see that there's different options for you to select from. And if we have these lines off by default, then, okay. All right, so yeah, so right now there's not that option, but we've been passing it around to see if it's possible to maybe have something here where it's like, put a line on this box. And we're not quite sure if it is or not yet, but we're working on it. The thing that's important to remember is that we can add those back, and we can add those back to you block by block. So you can just let us know which blocks you want the lines on and which ones you don't pretty easily. And it's something that'll probably just remain that way for as long as you have that homepage design. If you would like blocks added to your site, like if you want things like this added, then the first step is to meet with us, and then we will work with you to create a layout and put them up, and then you'll be able to edit them from there. So essentially, the blocks are just added in that way. Once they've been added, oh, I'm so sorry, I have a puppy and she's just confused. Once they've been added, if you go into edit the block, you can literally change the entire message of this block at that point. It can be pretty much anything you want. You could have any picture you want. You can change the message of that block. You can change the color behind the text on that block. And so you'll have full control over that. So that's the answer to that question, I think. Are there any other questions that you have? Please feel free to ask questions. I'm happy to answer them for you. Okay. Thank you for joining us today. This will be recorded and has been recorded, and so we'll get that up online. Remember that you can see all of the recordings for the webinars here. Oh, sorry, I'm on the wrong website. When you go to luggagedocs.info, you can click on the events tab, and from here in the archive, you'll be able to see all of the webinars that we've done. And when you click on a title of a webinar, you're going to be able to view the recording as well. And all of these recordings are now updated. So all of the recordings will be there. And Lena, yes, for sure, please. And if you want to unmute yourself and ask through Zoom and just ask the question, feel free.
Thanks. So I was wondering, Pages, we hope to change the address of the clinic on the new page, but I haven't figured out if I don't have the right access. So I'm in the home page, the very bottom, there is the Bessie Hall address, and I'd like to change that. But even though I'm logged in, it doesn't seem that I can do that change myself.
Sure. So in the footer is what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, that's another thing. And we'll have to change the footer. So we will be able to change that for you. And I know that with your current launch and moving forward with getting those public pages launched, that is definitely on our radar. Then we can help with updating links like that. So the footer right now, this web team, the bit team is going to have to change. Part of that is because there are certain policies that we're following, or I guess strongly advised. The footer content, I guess, has some strongly advised information that should be there, and so that's really why. Because like the copyright information and your address, just to keep consistency throughout Iowa State and throughout the Iowa State sites. But for sure, we will update that.
Thanks.
Yep. That's a great question. Are there any other questions that folks have they'd like to ask about their sites? You don't have to be shy. It's okay.
So I'm having a problem with the mushroom page. I can see it. I can go to edit, and then when I go to the body, there's nothing. It's just white.
Can you
I show you?
put the link in the chat real quick? Just to
It's like the only one that I haven't been able to edit properly.
Sometimes if we are in there, let's see. I guess I have to log in here. Okay. So when you edit, it is interesting.
Yeah, not sure why.
Me neither. Okay. Huh. Yeah, I really don't know. We'll have to look into that for sure. I wonder if it has something to do with the styling. It looks like there's like a box over here on the right or something. So I wonder if this has like some special styling on it.
Yeah, that was supposed to be a caption for a photo.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the way that transitioned to the new format. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. But yeah, thank you for bringing that up, and we'll get on that and see what's going on. Because we'll need to know for sure. I am tempted to just save it again and see if it would work or not.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I guess I can do that and just see if it Yeah. There's something here that must be not playing nice with other things. So we'll have, it looks like something one of our developers, or a couple of them are gonna have to look at. We'll get that taken care of and get back to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, anything else? Not. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for your questions. Thanks for all that you do to edit the websites here at Iowa State. And if you have any additional questions that you'd like to ask, please email websupport@iostate.edu, and we're happy to get back to you with those responses. So again, have a good week, and thank you all very much.
Thank you, and feel better soon.
Thanks a lot. See you later.
See ya.